It is April 15th, 2022. I'm watching this Eyewitness News piece, and in it, at the end, they make this big deal about, he's like, about being an inspiration. And then the newscaster's like, he's like, I just want to inspire. Key up word, my senses were like, ding, ding, ding. And I'm like, why inspire? I was like, think of the word inspire. It starts with INS. Right. So in the imperial order, INS stands for, so I had to look it up, and the Maxi iPad said that, or the Maxi Pad, whatever, the internet, said that INS was Immigration Natural Services, but they made it sound like it ended. So now that's confusing. But it had something to do with the United States, and I'm like, oh. But then it has a seal or a picture, a pictorial symbol. Then it has some dates. But then it has some evolution of newer symbols I've seen. But it's been since the 30s. It started 1933, which is, of course, for me, big symbols. But pyre means, again, depending on the P, in a melodic note, where if it's Ludwig van Beethoven, I don't know the name of it any longer because I don't play an instrument, but I knew it at one point on a clef sheet. It doesn't look like a P, it looks like a note. And then it's Irie. However, in this version of visualization, it looks like a pyre. Like a gigantic, the world's on fire kind of a pyre. So I'm like, because there's an S in front of the pyre as well, which is just like, oh, good Lord. So here's here's the thing. It's like, on the surface, on an epidemiologist's, like, surface look at it. No, epidemiology would be CDC level. So that would be part of the infection. No. So at a dermatitis, like a first outbreak dermatitis, like surface level, I'm like, why is he infatuated with batteries? He's collecting batteries. I wonder if he has a version of this word minister that's coaching him inside the interior of the United States. I can't seem to find a coach or a minister. But I noticed the African community has one, and I don't know which community this son is from. He didn't say. But I'm like, I wonder if he has an interior minister of some sort between the I and the E, and like some interior, then an embassy or an exterior unit of the U.S. elsewhere in, like, where's the end all be all? I'm just curious on Mount Rushmore kids being able to protect themselves, their family, and try to find a foreign minister that looks relatable to their nationality, because it's like, I don't know, it feels like bodies in the basement put all hands on deck and didn't tell anybody. And it's like, whoa, they deboarded. They deboarded the ship and they're on the field. Like, Rus Ajar, hello, hola. I mean, I'm confused again.
Tonight, a story that could very well change your life.
Because again, in school, they hold you in a room here, or at least they held me in a room here, even though I was born here. I didn't get here through immigration or naturalization. I'm Jason born here onto that calendar system, or I just, out of a rock, I appeared. I think that's just probably the best way to go, especially since Linda looks like the Pita, which looks like Mary, statue of the Virgin Mary in Rome. So it's just easier to say I exited a rock at this point. I'm just confused. When I was held in a room, they called it school. They didn't offer much learning. They did not offer a career path to success. They also offered a hand in marriage, but then that disappeared and never came back for me. And it was like the whole world disappeared when he disappeared. How am I supposed to survive on this planet with these humans? So now I'm looking as to like what's erupted. I'm like, how do they even know to collect batteries? How do they know where to send the batteries? Like what, like there's some kind of fast pace or like fast lane that's been going on I've been withheld from. I mean, like, I was looking forward to marriage and children with one direction. And then that was taken from me. And then there was no preparation in a backup plan. This does not feel like a backup plan. This feels like mishmash, like really off rails.
So we begin with a question. What do you do with batteries that lose their charge? Most people just throw them out. Guess what? It's bad for the environment. And some of them can actually cause fires. Now, somebody is trying to fix all this, and he's all in on this issue. Oh, and by the way, he's just 9 years old. Here's New Jersey reporter Anthony.
Where do they learn these things? I mean, my son doesn't have access to a leader in the community that teaches him that this is even going on right now or this is even possible. Why is that? Why are the Mount Rushmore with the linen paper kids? Why are we so disadvantaged in the states for which stand and pledge to the flag? Why are we so at a loss and disadvantaged? Why are there other things here prospering and leaps and bounds ahead of our pace? It's been since Linda, it's been since me, and now I can see it very clearly with my own children at just how dangerous this pace is taking. So now if the INS no longer exists, well, what was replaced? Like, what gateway in? Where's the barrier of protection built in for Inspire? So where does he, like, what level do they call it a minister? Do they have some other fancy word for their leader? Like, where's President Joe Biden on, like, what do they have community leader wise that I'm deficient of in New York at this point? I'm just curious because I don't even know if Lou and Lynn knew enough to ask. I certainly whenever participation was offered, I always, whether I wanted to do it or not, jumped at it. And with my children, I really, like this, when it was Boy Scouts for Ben, I did it because I wanted myself to be included. I was trying to make it like it was in Virginia, which as best as I could in New York. But I'm just confused as to how this is being offered to their children, and yet it's not a same service that's offered to any of ours, being that it is supposed to be coast to coast, a union of some sort, is it not? I mean, again, that's kind of the intimation, like building the nation, of how it was supposed to be before, I don't know when things shifted or changed in New York. But it is so clear that something's going on that's unannounced. I mean, nobody's made a formal announcement. They've just been making these really large changes, but in this like weird timing sequence that it's not it, and right now it's very heavily felt.
Johnson.
They have been called zombie batteries, discarded by humans, but in the afterlife they rise from the dead and fuel disasters that have been linked to huge toxic fires. Thanks to a group of mostly kids, used batteries can have a second life.
The batteries can be used to make golf bats, copper, other batteries, and like many more items.
How do you learn that? Like, you don't just come into this world and know that. Somebody had to have taught him and given him opportunity. Why is he being afforded opportunity in these lands, and yet my children are not, and I was not? Where is this like secret to success and investing in one's future when this is claiming inspire? And that seems like a really passive aggressive way, if you know what to look for other stuff that goes on in other places.
Riange is a 9-year-old who became
In like a nifty way to like underhandedly do something else.
became concerned about the health of the planet, watching news about fires involving lithium batteries. It inspired him to action.
It's almost like one of those stories where they steal straight from underneath your nose in front of your face and you're not quite sure why. But it's somebody else's agenda because they have to fill some kind of like cap or quota elsewhere, based on other things that they have going on. They couldn't get the material and the resources elsewhere, so they're doing it in some other place in some like really shifty way. So I don't know if that's necessarily the case with this particular little boy. I'm not whatever, but it is just frightening to me. Why is it there are people that are coming in from nobody explains where, and then these processes are going on, and generationally they're just passing wealth on to one another, and I'm here from a rock, in a rock, under a rock, and I've got like no, and actually that sounded wrong in English. For rock, paper, scissors. It's a sound pattern. That's something you have to talk through in order to hear. That's interesting, because I have no idea about that side of the world. Not my area of expertise by any stretch of the imagination.
I was just doing some research about batteries.
And unveiled his passion.
I just love nature. I just want to save Mother Earth in whatever way I can. I just thought about batteries, you know?
And with guidance from his parents, Rayon's joined Recycle My Battery, which provides bins for people to dump their used batteries. He gets permission to place the boxes in various high-traffic businesses, even in places like the
Metuchen Edison YMCA. I mean, it just, when he uses these words, it just has a very bodies in the basement kind of a feel. Like the base somewhere else in some place, I would have no idea where, being the unsuspecting victim in the situation. But I'm now questioning because I'm like, why the fascination with batteries all of a sudden? What's in these batteries? I mean, lithium is usually what they say, but that has to do with lava and a certain chemical component. Why are they it's almost like harvesting them innocently enough here, and then, I don't know. I mean, because there's more backlog to that, but it's just, I don't know. But also, where's my either foreign minister or my local minister? I mean, like, where do you find these ministers? I've looked in churches, they don't, like, it's the theory of what should be in place and the actuality of how one's able to find. I mean, my level of whatever is not as well put together as theirs, and I just don't understand where the deficiency is and where the expectation and where to go to fulfill the need of what's lacking right now and help be a part of some build, some better build, or some internal construction build. I don't know. I don't know where that is.
YMCA near his hometown.
So we have 9 volts, more than 9 volts, less than 9 volts, all of kinds.
He's recycled some 20,000 batteries. But why is this important?
A small drop in the ocean can make a huge difference in the world.
Rianj and others like him are making waves for future generations to enjoy.
Now I'm just a small drop in the ocean. If more people...
I have to think about this one. They pronounce his name Rianj. There's some battle, something or other with that name. And one of those things you just know, but you don't know why you know it. And it's not orange. No, it's something different.
get added to it, together we can make a huge difference. It doesn't matter about how old you are. Your age is not important, but what you're trying to do is important.
According to a report by Battery Solutions, Americans toss 3 billion batteries every year.
What do your friends say at school?
They're like, oh my God, you're doing such an amazing job. Maybe I could also join this campaign. So
Whoa, campaign. Whoa, bodies in the basement talking hello in the mouths of babes. Holy crow. Like, that is so interesting, right? Like, tell me something that they're doing in message not getting through from elsewhere, so I'll just pass it to one of the youths there and see who notices. I mean, like, again, it's interesting, but he said campaign. Now, this is new on this new, I mean, in my heyday, I mean, I didn't have anybody in the Army, Navy, or the whatevers. I mean, it was just a room and a schoolhouse, totally whatever. In intelligent men exist, and you were chosen by one, right? Got that, met him, so happy, and he would come find me. Great, okay, but it never happened. So now I have to look for words of others in order to try to piece this world together. This is confusing, but on its own, on like a good day, this is confusing. But now he's using this word campaign, which the only time I've ever heard the word campaign is for a politician or on Call of Duty Modern Warfare. My children used to say, we're playing a campaign. And I'm like, what is a campaign? Well, what do you mean you're playing campaign? And then they had to explain it to me in like a totally different context and different like theater set of possibility.
You know, like maybe you're right. I am an inspiration.
No doubt.
Oh, and there's a key word, inspiration. I could break down that inspire, but a pyre is a large, P-I-R-E is a large fire. I-R-E depends on who's asking and who's talking. I mean, it's supposed to be, like the Jamaicans, it's Irie. Sure is. If it's Ireland, we're Irie. But then, depending, is it a traveling? Because that bit could be a pyre. Depending on the spire. And then they're doing an inspire. So that means the N symbol already has an angled down between the two sticks. So if you're trying to rub two sticks together, it's on a downward trajectory. We're already in a dangerous spot or headed on a plotted chart map in like nautical, like a nautical mile kind of a way in symbolism. Why are we trying to inspire? How was that program working in a closed loop network?
Anthony Johnson, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Oh, you're an inspiration, young man. That's just amazing, right? Still to come on Eyewitness News at 6 o'clock, Rockefeller Center goes retro with its rink swapping out skates with blades for skates with wheels.
It's interesting how they put a grid on their city field. It's interesting how they put a grid by their skate rink. I don't know if they're doing ice skates or wheeled blades. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. But those are the things, like the small things in how do you even gain participation into these, like, I can get behind charities or collection events or whatever. I mean, in order to prove myself and my kids' place and space in the world and earn our whatever. But if it's withheld from our persons and from our consciousness, and there's not even a door to enter or to even a minute opportunity even given by the community and the land that we're all somehow whatever. I mean, it's in so many different, like if you MUSE, in a labyrinth kind of a way. But now it's feeling very lab, as in computerized, generated into a degenerate form of unwinding, or some maze runner, almost like an MAZE runner. And I'm just sitting like topiary. Like, I tried, like, and the hedges just grew up. Like, it's just overnight. And you're like, you're just trapped. That is exactly what feeling human is like within being born into the situation with Linda and Lou in this area of New York or Big Apple, or it's been referred to as Gotham or Empire State, within this us, US. And then, and even like the US, the unit state, it's the reverse of Soviet Union. I mean, it's SU. I mean, they're the same symbols, just in a reverse. So again, and les États-Unis, it feels like the estate. And the estate right now, I mean, I don't even want to say it's on fire, but it's in a problematic. I mean, you've got what's going to break the camel's back. Oh, well, there's questions that, like, I mean, you just don't want to ask. We've had a leading into the theater of the wrong whatever, which on somebody's deity and menu and diet looks on a playbill like murder to the family estate holder, but shouldn't be as such. Just needs to be brought to the table the correct way and then propped up so the appropriate theater personnel will do what's needed in a respectable light.